Welcome to Pot of Thunder.
Let me help Chris up off the floor there.
Are you okay?
Almost blew him off of this bench.
Somebody yelling at me right off the gate.
That was Parker Chapman. Thank you, Parker, for your submission. A
lot of mid-range in that contribution, just slicing through the mix. Man.
So here we are. It's Pot of Thunder. It's the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, and it is brought to you by Blue Microphones. They look great. They sound even better. If you're doing a podcast with anything but Blue Microphones, it is inferior. Give up now. Yeah. Order some Blue Microphones.
Or upgrade.
And start over. Yeah. Delete everything you recorded before then. Yeah. Start over. Yeah, you're doing it wrong.
If Lars Ulrich's dad was listening to your show, he'd say, I would say delete that.
You just look at your equipment.
Exactly.
Yeah, delete that. No, not good enough. So you know who it is. You recognize my voice. Come on.
It's my buddy Andy.
That's right. It's your buddy Andy. America's little brother, and he can't get through the show if he doesn't do the introductions for everyone exactly the same way every time. No wonder my daughter's also an OCD maniac. Hey, over there, there's...
Bam! Bam!
Gnarly Nick the Garlic Dragon. There he is.
Wow. I made it.
You made it, and you made something else. We'll get to that in a second, but there is Foil. Thank heavens. People say, hey, guys, you got to eat more on that podcast. We say, okay, you got it. But directly to Nick's left... Nick, could you go outside real quick and make sure the roof is on tight?
I checked before I came in.
Oh, okay, good, because there he is, the breakout star of the podcast medium.
And I think we need a gunslinger.
Oh, no. There it goes.
Somebody tough to tame this town. I think we need a gunslinger. There'll be justice all around.
Chris L in the house. There he is. Put your hands together. He's here. He's here.
Succumb to my power, my age, and my weight.
Already.
All of you. It's my new slogan.
I think a new T-shirt is in order.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The dark corners of the internet. Gold is to be mined there. And that's where I found my new slogan.
One more time. Give it to us one more time.
Succumb to my power, to my age, and to my weight.
I cannot imagine where that came from and what that's about.
Do the math on it. It might not be too difficult to figure out. Again, found in the darkest corners of the internet. Great stuff. Just stealing that for my own personal motto.
It's right up there with your Ray Victory stuff that you found, huh? Similar kind of...
Yeah.
Someone writing some bizarre statement about something.
The classic Lisa Marie Presley YouTube comment, which has vanished forever. I swear I saw it. Andy can corroborate it.
I read it.
Can't find it again.
12 years ago or so, 10 years ago.
Unbelievable.
Can't spread it on a podcast.
Unbelievable stuff.
No, you can't say
Stops you in your tracks.
Yeah, staggering.
And, yeah. The way people express themselves on the internet, it's just it's the Wild West.
It is. It's funny. Basically, we used to talk about that. Maybe we'll go back into that game today. Well, I guess it depends what the song is, but the YouTube comments game. It doesn't matter what it is. Somebody's fighting or saying something outlandish.
Or the Amazon product reviews are good.
Any ad on social media, if you look at the comments, it's a toilet.
Lately, I've been... on Facebook, my feed, when it pulls up a Blabbermouth news feed, it cherry picks one comment, and it's invariably just a scathing blast at whoever the subject is. So
you've been posting those on Pot of Thunder on Twitter, right?
Yeah, I take a screen capture and post them up there, and I find it entertaining.
Well, Blabbermouth, I think, I don't know, but... From what I've seen on the internet, Blabbermouth might be about the worst.
You haven't been on TMZ.
Well,
but I mean, as far as stuff I actually
lower than TMZ
actually look at, yeah. I'm sure there are much worse things, but as far as something I visit regularly, the pettiness in the comment section on any Blabbermouth story is remarkable.
It's unrelenting. Or any sports thing when we were talking about games being canceled due to protest, or taking a knee for the anthem.
Oh,
Just
man.
the discourse is depressing. Makes you not want to live on this planet anymore.
Yeah. Just stop looking. You'll be happier.
But it's hard to avoid.
It is.
It just seeps in.
I say that, and I'm guilty of it too. So,
and I mean, the right thing to do would be to completely avoid social media, but somehow it would seep in because you can't really completely avoid the internet.
No.
Because you put on the TV, it's basically reporting on what's going on social media.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And, we have a show to promote. It's internet-based, so, it's the price of poker, unfortunately, but really depressing stuff.
Yeah, and there's going to be plenty more of that coming today. But before we get to that depressing stuff, what's in the foil, Nick? It used to be what's in the box. Now it's what's in the foil.
Well,
Now, before you get into it, I just want to say, don't take this the wrong way, but 2 weeks ago, the bar was set extremely high. Last week came up a little short for me, and I have to attribute it to the interior texture was kind of. I guess I would have preferred it to be a little more solid, less runny.
Well, here's what Nick says to that.
Die, you bastard!
I don't blame him. I'm just saying. Part of it is because he set the bar so high the previous week, which, frankly, I don't know if he'll ever eclipse that. Period. But
That's not a bad review.
yeah,
and I agree.
I mean, you have an excellent recipe. You keep it in your back pocket. You don't make it every time, but it's a recurring recipe.
And it's about trying something different all the time, too.
Yeah.
So.
yeah. I mean, again, it wasn't bad. I'm just saying that compared to the previous week, you had.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite either. So it wasn't. I mean, I had some, afterwards, couple days, and it was all right.
The great ones, Nick eats. The okay ones, he shares with his friends.
No. The 1-2 weeks ago was incredible. And, so what do we got this week?
All right, we have Laugenecken.
Oh, boy. That sounds like it's some...
Not an Elvis song, by
the way. That sounds like some kind of Scandinavian thing.
So it's a German...
Scandinavians making out. That's basically what it is.
It's a German soft pretzel pastry.
Okay, well, you drop the word pretzel on me, I'm good. I'm in.
One of them I experimented with over here, and I put a little peanut butter glaze.
Like a sandwich.
Yeah.
It's a triangular sandwich section.
Eight separate layers of dough.
Oh my
good Christ!
With butter in between each one.
You will succumb to my weight after I eat a section of these. I'll tell you. And
the peanut butter one I tried, it was all right. With the
there are 3 different types.
Well, no, these 2 are just plain.
Just
and
butter.
That one I put a peanut butter glaze on top of just to see, because I like that combo.
Pretzel and peanut butter.
Yeah,
it's hard to not like that combo.
Well,
so it's here.
That's exciting.
Andy, do you want the peanut butter glaze one, or do you want to split that one?
Do we need some music?
I think we do. You can have it. I'll have a regular one. Or if you don't finish it, maybe I'll have a bite. But
I'll finish it. Have you looked at me lately? Again, listen to my new slogan.
One more time.
It's all there. The power, the age, and the weight. You must succumb to all of it.
Okay. Well then, Nick. Get out those forks, get out those plates, and here we go.
Let's get us some stall music.
Time for a baked treat. Baked treat.
I can't put my finger on what song that was.
Yeah, me either.
Should I say, or should I let the people guess?
Well, they can guess on their own.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck they're doing while listening to this show. I'm not going to wait around for them.
Yeah, spill it.
So
That's long enough.
Well, trying to think of something.
Spoiler alert,
something
Nick's going to tell us the answer.
It's Unfinished Sweet, the Alice Cooper song.
Oh,
just a little takeoff on that. Time for a baked treat.
I like it.
Couldn't think of anything else to say. That's the best I came up with.
Hey, doesn't get any better than that.
So, Andy, what do you want?
I'll take a regular one, please, and thank you. So
This
today,
dessert is also such that we're probably going to need some paper towels. There's a lot of moisture,
okay.
visible moisture.
Holy
The mark of quality in desserts and in defecations.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it is like a sandwich.
It does.
I'm gonna eat this sandwich after sandwich.
Looks like stacked up deli meats. I mean,
yeah. Look at this thing. All right. So today, right? It is Nick's turn to choose something from the random list submitted by you, the listener. Oh man, there's so many on there. Thousands. As many as 2,000. But hey, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Actually, we're approaching 3. That's good.
Goodness me.
Yeah, maybe not. 25 something. 2,500 songs on the list submitted by you, the listener. Everybody's got as good a chance to have your song picked as anybody else, regardless of when you submit it. So it's
that's like, what, 50 years of weekly shows?
Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna make it. We might have to start doubling up.
I'm going to make it.
It's gonna come down to the wire.
Yeah. Chris is gonna be 100.
It's not gonna be a secretariat type finish.
No. 100.
We won't be running away with it. Breaking away.
Finally. All right, so do you want to pull that pewter and head on over?
I don't
What are we
think
gonna
so.
do? Okay.
You don't think?
I don't think so.
You
well,
don't think
see,
so?
here's the
Why?
thing. Here's the thing.
Uh-oh, there's a thing.
We didn't pay the monthly installment on the Bozo Pewter, so we got to catch up on that.
Was
so
it taken away?
So it's actually down right now.
I thought we were on auto pay.
They came and I don't know, something happened. So
You gotta be kidding me.
so it's
This organization is coming apart as it seems.
Bush League.
so I'm gonna have to improvise, and I will choose something off the list without the Bozo Pewter.
How are you managing that?
I have the list.
Okay.
I believe he's using the Chris L rule. It's our damn show, and we'll do whatever the hell we want.
That's part of it.
That's what it sounds like is going on.
We're
over here.
succumbing to that rule.
Okay. Nick's
The
got something.
power of that rule.
Nick's got something else in the cards for us today,
I do.
and we do what Nick says.
It's about time we did this.
Okay.
So, and before I do it right now, I'll just say there is a distant, slight Frankie Banali connection,
Oh, okay.
who just passed away a few days ago as of this recording. It's not necessarily in tribute to him,
Okay.
but I realized that there is a sort of a connection.
I think I might know where you're going with this, but we'll see.
All right. Do you want me to just play the thing?
Yeah,
All right.
ready to roll.
Okay. You do it, because I don't know what's going on here.
Just keep eating.
That's the
Enjoy
best
yourself.
direction I've ever gotten from anyone in my life. Just keep eating and be quiet. Time to turn the microphone over to Chris Jericho, who's overdue for an appearance on the show, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Where the hell's he been? Well, hopefully we have him back soon. Come on, Chris, give it to us.
All right, Hamill. This one's called
We'll Bring the House Down.
Off of
We'll Bring the House Down.
by the band.
Slade.
Ow! Oh!
Now, is it Wheel? W-E-apostrophe-L-L or Will?
No, we will.
Okay.
Yep. We'll Bring the House Down.
They had an album called
1981.
1981.
So this is on the list, like you said.
Yes.
I found it here. And it was submitted by Colin Bell. I think
Taco Bell.
I think our only listener in the UK at this point. Somehow,
Is he?
Australia,
What do you think?
we're monsters, enormously huge there. Okay,
it's like,
pretty good in Canada.
It's like the Unmasked era for us.
Yeah,
It just nobody really cares that as much as they should.
yeah,
But then you go to Australia and they're rabid.
yep.
The British don't have the balls to appreciate this show. It's that simple.
There's
I mean,
at least
that just encapsulates it right there. There's your explanation.
there's at least one Brit with giant ones. That would be Colin.
That'd be Colin, yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, years ago, you really went out of your way to gun down Australia, and we've gotten increasingly more listeners, increasingly more popular there with our listeners. I think maybe that's overdue for the UK now.
Well,
so.
talking shit about Jericho drew him into our orbit. So,
We should
So we're
bash everyone.
Should we just throw a dart at the map?
well, I already did. They've got no balls over there. Their fucking teeth are all messed up. And, you know, their food is shit. I mean, they you know, most countries have, like, some sort of food that you connect with their culture, and then people gravitate toward it. They crave it. Does anybody crave any kind of food from Britain?
Just
fucking shepherd's pie.
just like
Get outta here.
fried fish.
Yeah,
basically.
fish and chips.
It's just from a culinary standpoint, a complete disaster of a country.
Well, and that's
Biscuits and other bullshit that they
digestive
consume.
biscuits.
Yeah,
Just call it a cookie, will you?
Yeah, exactly. Just quit playing games with the names of things. Biscuit, get out of here.
Digestive.
The fuck out of here with that.
You need a prescription to get some of those.
Yeah, exactly. British. Colin Bell accepted. Solid individual. Everybody else.
And the band that we're listening to tonight, also from the UK, the Midlands, wherever that is.
So I was at the middle.
Appropriate
I'll go with
enough. It's somewhere in the middle of the country.
Sounds good to me. So, Colin sent us a long paragraph. Oh, I don't have my glasses on,
God.
Colin. I was hoping for a few words here. Like, there's one on here that says, "Sure beats up for breakfast." That would have been a good description.
You could just
but no.
say that was what Colin said.
And you could say that about any song, really.
Great Aussie rock anthem. Good enough. No, okay, so he says, so I was chatting to a fellow Slade fan who was one of the hosts of a great podcast, and he said he'd love to analyze this song, so here it is. After their huge success in the UK in the early 70s, Slade couldn't get arrested in 1980 until somebody suggested them as a late replacement for Blizzard of Oz at the Reading Festival. Apparently, the mostly metal-loving crowd were ready to pelt them with bottles, etc. I'm sure Chris would have been encouraging them. Slade turned the crowd around and went down a storm. Is that a...
It just means it went over very well.
Some British saying. Just go with it.
Okay. Even getting the crowd...
They went down a digestive biscuit.
Yeah, exactly.
Even getting the crowd to sing along to that Christmas song in July. This led to a resurgence for the band and, oh boy, stonking new anthems like this. Sorry this is so long, by the way. It's okay, Colin. Stonking. Do we know the word stonking?
Never heard of
That
it.
must mean like rocking, banging. But
Now, what's
stonking.
the Benally connection other than the obvious?
It's the obvious. Just
they
that,
once covered a
They twice.
that's right.
Yeah,
twice.
they kind of built their career somewhat on covering Slade songs, which
That's strange.
arguably
that
was their downfall at the same time.
That was a producer's suggestion, and they claim that they cut "Come On, Feel the Noise" in one take, and they were trying to play shit
Yeah,
on
I
these
heard
in order
that.
to
Oh.
have it not make the album. It's simply not true.
Yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
buy that.
It's well executed, and it turned out to be, for the sake of their careers, a great thing to do.
The defining cut of their.
That's just a classic
discography.
example of a embellished bullshit story that takes on a life of its own over the years, trying to distance themselves from the very thing that made them popular.
The only way that happened would be if they did that, they left, and then whoever the producer was and his real friends went in and cut it with Kevin Dubrow.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they're like, you better not say anything to them. Okay.
We thought we were just goofing
I don't
around.
know, man.
Turned out great.
You know how producers are. Producer magic. So what is this album?
1981.
It's not on here. No, I'm sure it is. I'll find it.
1981. This is the opening track, title track. It's written by Neville Noddy Holder and Jim Lee, the bass player. One of my absolute favorite rock bass players.
He's good. Huh?
Wow.
He's awesome. Yeah.
That versed in the Slade, huh?
I don't know all of their stuff, but spent a decent amount of time listening to them. Yeah.
So you said 81.
I think that's when the album came out. Yeah.
Because I see Till Death Do Us Part with a nail in an ear.
Well, there is an album called "We'll Bring the House Down." Maybe they had it on EP or something. I don't know. I again won't claim to be an expert.
So I don't know. Maybe this is some more information that we can discuss. But according to what I'm looking at, it's a compilation album. Is it a new song on a compilation album?
I think so. Yeah. I think
we go.
They took I think they took an EP from before and put it on it, and combined it. I think.
Okay. So that's what we got here.
But I've got like remastered CDs that's got even more bonus stuff, so I'm not sure what's what.
Yeah, you don't need to know. No one cares what's what. As long as you like it and it's good, it's all that matters. So Nick is the Slade guy here. Chris is not the Slade guy here. I don't really know.
And Chris Slade is not here.
No, but let me just go on the record. Is that, and I think I've said this before, but I haven't listened to enough Slade music to really have an opinion on it. I just can't stand the visual image or the nickname of Noddy Holder. That combo is just it was an instant turn off. I mean, back in the day when I was much younger, very early 80s, probably around the time this album came out, went to the local head shop called the Groove Shop on Mack Avenue, east side of Detroit, and that's where I would get my posters and little buttons that people used to wear in the 80s.
Yeah.
And they also had like books, and one of them was just like some rock photographer's compilation of his photos and just various bands. One of them was Slade. I turned to the Slade section, saw a picture of him, saw what his name is, and just instantly shut down to this band.
I'm guessing it was the giant top hat with the mirrors attached.
And doesn't he wear like lederhosen
like plaid.
type?
Like just, really long plaid.
Just ridiculous looking, and it just people who listen to the show know that there are certain things that trigger me and just completely I can't get past it. The visual image and the nickname of Noddy Holder have just caused me to reject this band outright.
Now,
nothing to do with what their sound is, what their songs are like.
Now, visually,
that's the story.
Were they that much different than some of the other British glam bands going on? Was Sweet that much different?
They didn't look like clowns. I mean, that's when I saw him, I perceived him as a clown.
Well, and he has the big, curly hair too.
Yeah, and I just, I don't want outright comedy or self-deprecation in my rock music. I want some serious business going on. It doesn't have to be serious where there's no fun to it, but I want to know that these guys are serious about rocking and not trying to be clowns. And I just instantly perceived him as a clown and rejected them for it.
Well, we'll see what your verdict is, whether they're clowns or serious about rocking today.
Right. And now that I'm listening to it without any of that visual image, I'll just analyze it for the music itself, and that's probably how it should have been from the beginning. But again, it's completely ridiculous, irrational, but at least I'm honest about it. This is how I've come to this opinion, completely on the aesthetics of the front man.
Well, as the cliche goes, people hear with their eyes sometimes.
Sure.
So it happens. Presentation's important.
Yep. I got a mouthful of pretzels. I was hoping you guys would talk longer.
Let's see here.
Oh, Andy failing.
How How is it? It's not too dry, is it?
No, it's good.
I didn't put quite as much butter as it said to put. It said to put a whole stick of butter.
That's a lot of butter.
Yeah, I went a little more reasonable.
Okay, so this is 81. So this is a bit of a comeback for Slade.
This is their
From what I was seeing, maybe 72 was the first album around
I think
then.
around. Well, I think they like late 60s. They were like I guess it was in style, at least in Britain, to be like skinhead looking.
Yeah.
And that they cut off all their hair around that point. I think it was late 60s, early 70s, and then they kind of did the glam kind of flashy, showy kind of image. And,
so they were like the working class skinhead look.
Yeah,
back then.
Yeah, and then probably around 72, 73, that was when like they were at their peak. I would think, and then I guess I think they did all right for a few years after that. I mean, compared to any sort of amateur musician or anything like that,
sure,
they did very well. But compared to how they were, they kind of were going downhill. And then the whole Reading Festival thing happened, kind of a mini version of Queen at Live Aid.
Wow. It's
a smaller version of that because that wasn't worldwide.
Now, did you know this before Taco Bell offered up that knowledge, or
I'd heard about it.
Is that common knowledge that was Slade's coming back out?
Yeah, because I actually have. There's a Slade Alive compilation double disc, and it's one of the bonus things on it is the Reading Fest.
Okay,
the whole show.
It's short. Yeah, I don't think they played for that long, but yeah, it's a pretty well known event in their career.
When did Metal Health come out?
83.
So they were digging back quite a few years.
Yeah, and
at the time Slade was probably again down. I'm guessing. I don't
know.
When did they break up?
They're technically still going, okay, but
I don't think they ever officially disbanded.
But the two songwriters, they're not. They aren't in it anymore. They haven't been in it since like the '90s. So right now it's kind of like a Creedence Clearwater Revisited kind of a thing, where they got a different singer, and then
Noddy is not in it.
Noddy is not.
Okay. I forgot that every band that ever existed is still
out there.
Because if there's anyone with money,
but
they're gonna slap some version of their band together.
But
and get that money, which I'm not knocking them for.
The four guys, the band, whatever. Yeah, I think it was the '90s sometime.
Well, that's
early
pretty
90s.
Good run. '60s to '90s. That's pretty impressive. Okay.
Never hear anything. Never heard them on the radio.
No,
nothing.
Well, now what I will say is that after the Quiet Riot resurgence, they put out an album which I looked it up here in 1984 called "Keep Your Hands Off My Power Supply," and the first single off that album, "Run Run Away," was a pretty regular rotation on MTV, and that one didn't resonate with me either. I thought it was
that's like a Celtic kind of
I was going to say it has like almost that Irish bagpipes type musical hook to it, and I don't know.
Dropkick Murphys.
Well,
it's a very catchy tune, but I could see where if you're not into that style.
Well, I mean, I kind of am. I mean, there's plenty of that in Thin Lizzy music and some other, like even Big Country. I kind of liked it in their, title
Brian
track.
Reeves?
What? No. No.
Sorry.
His album went to #1 after he covered that.
Well, his sister was the original bass player in Nashville Pussy. Did you know that?
No, really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
But no, not Big Country
I'd hate
Reeves.
to know her nickname.
Well, again, do the math on it. Our listeners are people of the world, and you can, there you have it. So anyway, but no, the band
running away with it.
Big Country. In a Big Country, the musical hook has got that Celtic quality to it, Celtic, however you pronounce it. And I didn't mind those. It's just Runaway. It didn't work for me.
Oh.
So
Okay. Well then,
but I'm coming in with an open mind. I'm gonna put my preconceptions aside and take it for what it is. And I'm looking forward to it. This is not an ELO situation. This is not an Everclear situation.
I forgot.
This is not a Counting Crows situation for me. Okay, I dismiss them for no reason other than the
front man.
The aesthetic of the front man is
Supertramp?
Yeah, throw that on the list. Yes.
Okay.
Trying to block that out. But yes, those are the big four of garbage for me, I would say.
I didn't know
Just
Counting
absolute
Crows.
shit.
Counting
Oh, yeah.
Where would that Big Four play festival?
Hopefully at the near the mouth of an active volcano, hopefully.
Okay. Well, let's get into this. I'm ready. I've never heard this song. I'm excited. Chris looks like he's excited.
No, I'm aware that they can put out some potent rock, and I'm looking forward to seeing if this fits the bill.
All right, well, let's do that as soon as we're done listening to this commercial. Man, I tried that one time.
That was a good commercial.
My pecker got smaller because I tried that. It's messed up.
You're not supposed to put it on it directly.
Well,
It's not a topical
I didn't know.
thing.
Usually that's how I try everything that we get sent to us.
Yeah.
Let me put it on my pecker first.
Well,
See what it does. Okay. Enough.
So you got the big, huge reverb on pretty much everything.
Yeah.
They were an effect-heavy band, I would say, as far as their studio stuff.
really? Most of their albums are produced this way.
This one's a bit heavier, I would say, but like their stuff, their prime, if you want to call it that. They're during that point, their commercial prime in the 70s. They had huge echo. Like they would go and stomp in stairwells and, and kind of get sounds like that to add into it, to add a lot of echo and things like that, a lot of reverb. So they can be pretty effect heavy.
To me, so far, it almost sounds like a big band kind of thing. The recording quality of it.
Interesting.
Like, some drumming. Obviously, that's all that we're hearing. But then some kind of call and response thing.
Yeah, one of those big gang vocal choruses that you can get an entire festival crowd to join in with you, which seems like almost every band is trying to have one of those in their repertoire to
they had
get
several.
a crowd involved.
They had several. These are basically, I think, like soccer chants that they were putting in, and they have several songs like that. And this one in particular, and I think I brought this up on another episode for something else, but I'd never gotten an answer, like anybody even noticing it or saying anything about it or confirming. But this song, so it came out in 81. It's got the big soccer chant.
Yeah.
82 was Queen on Fire live at the Bowl.
Yeah.
Right before Now I'm Here starts, you hear this chant one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This exact chant, you hear the crowd do it.
That's funny.
So I'm assuming that's legitimately what it is. And it's just interesting that it made it onto a Queen album. I don't know.
Do British people still chant?
I don't know.
at soccer games or whatever?
I would imagine, yeah. I think
hasn't
I don't
gone
think
away.
it's just them too. I think that's like a soccer thing.
That's everywhere in the world except for the
United States because they're playing mini golf over by the concessions
right.
area.
Yeah, you're waiting for your loaded nacho helmet, then playing mini golf. You don't have time to
doing
take a
anything
chance.
except watching the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
The moment I've been waiting for.
There's a lot going on.
That musical passage that we just heard.
Sounded familiar.
Who else besides Noddy Holder and Jim Lee would write a guitar riff like that? Perhaps someone in this room.
Should I go back and hear it again real
Yeah,
quick?
go back maybe 5 seconds or so.
I think I know
You got me. I don't know what it is.
Well, let's see. Andy's got it.
Oh, okay. All right, I hear it. Yeah, didn't occur to me instantly.
Just
but
thought
yeah.
that was pretty cool. That it's the same. The drums are slightly different, but it's pretty much the same exact riff as.
Well, it's going from A to G is not exactly.
But the rhythm is the same, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, now you mention it, I hear it. I will say, this might be a little pretentious of me, but I will say that I think our song was better produced than this song. I mean, this is a shrill, fatiguing listen to me.
It's
a mushy. It's like your dessert from last week. The interior of it. It's not solid and separated enough for me. It's all kind of liquefied a little bit too much for my taste, and it's shrill on the top end, which is kind of the nature of the vocal, but I don't know. It's just it's a little bit kind of a white noise type thing for me.
Yeah,
it's not a pleasant listen.
This whole album is like that, where they really just kind of overrode everything, or overdrove, I guess. So production wise, I would agree. Yeah, there is a shrill quality to the whole album. I think I'd like to get the get the lyrics from that.
Okay.
There's a line that I enjoy, second to the last line. Headbangers don't buy no soul. All they want to do is rock and roll away. Let the bass blow you away. Imaginary playing heavy riffs. No diminished. No fancy fifths. Come on, heads down shaking. Come on.
None of those jazz chords in there.
No.
I like that sentiment.
Yeah,
I can get on board with that.
I would say they're more than any other band that I can think of. They're like the obvious, just gonna hit you over the head with it kind of a band. Nothing. There's really not much that I'm familiar with by them that is like you're gonna have a profound intellectual experience.
I mean, you don't want that.
No.
It's me rock and roll. Really, I don't. I will say that chord progression. I was trying to think of it, and it occurred to me that the sort of descending chord pattern, it happens twice in the verse. I was like what Motorhead song is that? What Motorhead song is that? And I arrived at the answer, Ramones off the 1916 album.
Okay. And that's
bum, 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 you know.
That's funny that you mention that, because I often, when I hear this song, I think that, Motorhead like to do a cover on every album. Well, not every album, but they would do that. They would throw in a cover. I think
you saying over there.
I dropped my pretzel.
Jesus.
The whole thing.
I got it.
Oh, good.
Caught it.
I think this song could have been an effective Motorhead cover.
Yeah, no,
I think the lyrics, the vocal, I think Lemmy could have done it. I think musically it would have worked.
Phil and or Mickey D would
Yeah,
have had a good time with that drum intro.
Yeah, either way.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, it sounds good. Like I said, that chord progression was like instant Motorhead, and then it finally came to me which song would compare to
during that like Misfit Twilight Zone,
right
during that part, yeah.
Now, when you made your initial comment, Andy, where you said it sounded like a big band recording, I was going to say it sounded almost like a rockabilly recording with the drum sound, the slapback echo on the vocals and stuff, and it would almost be another band that could have done a cover of this. Brian Setzer, Stray Cats.
I could see that, yeah.
Rockabilly it up. It could work.
Somebody should.
And just that sentiment will bring the house down. And the theme of the lyrics would fit in with a rockabilly set, I think.
Yeah, and with that drum style, with the sort of that snare work, it's not like a hi-hat, kick, snare kind of a beat like you would get when Quiet Riot would cover the song. Their big hits, I think most of them had this kind of like, I don't know if you call it a shuffle beat, whatever you call it, but that sort of snare work on there. And
I think we established a few episodes ago that no one can describe what a shuffle is.
That's true. So I'll just
it's
say that
it's literally impossible.
I'll just say it for this then, because it doesn't matter.
You cannot verbally describe what a shuffle is. I defy anybody to even attempt it. You'll fail. You just can't do it. Literally, you can't paint that picture with words. You have to put out a musical example of it, and then you say that's a shuffle. Well, how do you do it? Well, you play like what you just heard. I don't know how you do it.
And it's like so, I mean, it's like everything's really heavy. The drums could be in a Johnny Cash song.
Yeah.
It's got that locomotive kind of feel to it.
All the elements of the basic quality ingredients of good rock and roll, except a decent production. I mean, it's a fatiguing listen.
It's unique.
It is,
but it's fatiguing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the uniqueness is in the tone of the voice, which is why when you listen to Kevin Dubrow, it makes sense that somebody would say, you should do a Slade song. It's right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily want to be unique because your production sucks. It's not it's not something you want to hang your hat on. You should really... I don't understand how you come out of a studio thinking this is a good sounding album and I'd like to put it out to the world. I mean, how do you not fix it? There are other albums from this era that sound infinitely better than this. How do you not at least try to... It's like last week. How do you not raise your lyrical game when you're working with the likes of Joe Satriani? How do you land on this sonic result and think it's good? It just doesn't make any sense to me. like we talked about with Kiss after Creatures, and Lick It Up was okay, but like Animalize and like Crazy Nights, it's like, how do you think that was the right way to go with your drum sounds after what you achieved in Creatures? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And people said, well, you're blending in with the times. It's like, why would you blend in with shitty production?
Yeah.
What is it about it that you think is quality? Someone would have to explain that to me. It's probably like explaining a shuffle. You just can't do it. It just, I don't know.
Go with it.
Some have opined, and usually it's in the context of Blizzard of Oz and Max Norman saying that the guy was so jacked up and everybody involved was so blasted on cocaine that it affected their hearing, and it resulted in this kind of shrill, thin-sounding result. There's also theories that the mics were out of phase, which canceled out a lot of the frequencies, and that's why you get what you get. This just seems like overproduced. Like what we talk about, there's no space in this music.
No, and I think
echoing and just everything blending together, and it's just not a pleasant listen.
And they were known as like a big, loud band. So, like, I guess I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but I had read I'd read a Noddy Holder's autobiography a few years ago, and he was talking about how one of their big advantages when they were starting out was that they bought some pretty good, like they spent the money on the equipment, and they were running everything through the PA, and I think something where instead of separating it, they would send it to both sides. Everything went to both sides, so it was just like kind of a wall of sound coming at the crowd, like bigger than most things that they would have heard at that point.
Okay,
so it could just be them trying to outdo themselves.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that there might have been some of that. Like, what can we do to sound even louder, even crazier? And that's probably why you get the sound on this album, which I will agree. There's not much space, and it's very big, and it can tire you out. Yeah. I think a lot of the songs on the album are great, but yeah, I would agree with the production.
Well, and again,
diagnosis.
I agree that the basic components of the song are good. Something else any pop punk band, you could hear them doing this, So I think this song transcends a lot of genres, and the best songs do that anyway, but sonically it's just kind of a disaster to me.
Well, and that's interesting because like they've been covered by so many people.
Well, yeah, because they have great songs. Yeah. The few I know are all catchy as hell, and whether you like them or not, and it's a testament to their songwriting. But when the song doesn't sound good, it's not going to be easily consumed. I mean, that was one of the things about Come On Feel the Noise, Quiet Riot. The production on that album was pretty good, instantly identifiable drum sound, and it was of the time, but a quality production. So I think that definitely factored into its popularity.
Well, I would recommend to anybody having that issue to listen to this one on the Slade Alive compilation.
Okay.
I think it's cleaner. It's it's a live album, so it's a cleaner kind of sound, and it still rocks really hard. So.
We'll bring the house down. We'll bring the house down.
So that was Dave Hill.
Okay.
On lead guitar.
Dave Hill on the lead. Is he still in the band?
He's still in there, yeah.
Okay.
He and the drummer Don Powell are still. I think they're still out there. Well, nobody's out there right now, but some people are getting out there.
Yep.
Super heavy vibrato at times. He wiggles the strings excessively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got that impression. Again, it's like it's not a pleasant listen. It's like nervous sounding, hyperactive sounding. I mean, it was good rock solo, but the overall sonic quality is just not pleasing to my ear.
All right,
vibrato reminiscent of B.B. King.
That's true. Well, there's still a whole minute left, so let's get back into this.
Big ending, yes. That I liked. That one last chord really exploded out of the headphones. I liked that.
Yes, indeed. It's time to vote. What do we call it? It is Sweet Surrender or Kick in the Crotch. Who wants to vote first? Who's it going to be?
Well, I'll go first since I brought it to the table here. Definitely a Sweet Surrender for me.
It's Sweet Surrender. Hell yes.
Well, I will agree with the production of this album. I think that not every song on it is great, but probably half of them are pretty great.
Okay. Well, you said it's a compilation of a couple EPs. So is there one that's...
Well, I think there was an EP that came out after the Reading Fest, and then they expanded on it, maybe. I want to say, and that's what this album is, I think. But this song, like, when I was getting into checking out their stuff, when I came to this song, I was like, okay, yeah, this one does it for me for sure. And I like this version. I think the live one. I'm a live album kind of guy, so.
You like live albums, huh?
I do. I like a lot of their big hits. I think are better on the live albums.
That's good.
Like the two songs "Quiet Riot" does, and there are a few other ones that I think are even better. There's some that are infinitely better. I would say they're absolutely awesome on the live one, and then you go back and listen to the studio recording. It's like, okay, it's good, but it's so restrained by comparison.
Okay, so you think that's what they're trying to do with this, maybe? Or
maybe. I mean, it sounded like just going
all
out in every direction. Yeah. But I think it's a great song. Notting Hill.
Benny Hill.
Notting Hill.
Yeah.
Dave Hill.
Hugh Grant vehicle.
Noddy Holder. We didn't really talk about his voice too much, but it's one of those impossible voices, I would say. Like, if you're in a cover band and you're really going to try to do these songs, you're probably an unusual creature to be able to do that.
Yeah. Like Chris said, it made sense for someone like Kevin DuBrow to do it.
Yeah.
But just some dude at the local Pepe is doing some cover songs, you're not going to do it right.
This might not be the band to cover. Yeah,
No, I would say not.
and you were talking about their Christmas song.
Yeah.
If I ever went across the pond, that would be one thing I'd like to experience. Is they say you cannot escape it around Christmas time.
Oh, really?
It is played everywhere in public, every store. You cannot escape it. So,
wow,
wouldn't mind experiencing that once in my life.
So, interesting. I had no idea. I didn't know it was that big of a deal.
The other one would have been, it's a song that would not be played anymore, but there's that Gary Glitter, another rock and roll Christmas, which I heard was like that, but obviously not anymore.
They've done away with that one.
No, they're not playing that one anymore.
Just play Slade twice.
So I'll pass it on to whoever wants it.
I'll take it. I, too, will give this a sweet surrender.
It's sweet surrender. Hell yes.
But I'm sort of in the Chris boat. Not that he's voted yet, but the fatiguing thing. I'm judging it as a song. It's cool. I like it. I don't know how often I would want to listen to it for leisure. It is, and especially like if you heard a whole album that sounded like this, I don't think I could get through it. But maybe if the song comes up on shuffle, it's good. But I liked it. Cool, big chorus.
There's always the live version too.
Yes, I will check that out.
Which I recommend to anybody experiencing these same symptoms.
Hey, maybe I got a cold, so maybe that's what's going on. But I like the chorus. It's a cool song. I didn't really know what was going on in that solo section. It's kind of chaos, but I'm not mad about it. Just saying. I like the idea that it seems like they're trying to recreate the live show thing on an album instead of, like, if maybe they thought what Nick said, hey, our studio albums are missing something versus our live show. Let's try and maybe they swung and missed hitting the mark of making it, the combination of palatable and energetic, but they went full bore in the energetic direction, and they got that on tape. So that's what we heard today. Chris?
Oh man, kind of right on the cusp here. I'm gonna go against the grain and give it a very unenthusiastic, slight, sweet surrender.
Oh!
It's sweet surrender. Hell yes.
I think the core elements of the song are good, well-intentioned, rocking. It's just a lot of the sonic qualities kind of kill it for me. But just listening to it, putting aside my aversion to the visual image, I can obviously acknowledge that they've probably put out some quality rock. I'm not super familiar with their song catalog, but I think the positives just barely outweighed the negatives for me here. So,
well, there you have it. Got to dust this one off.
All right, Hammond. I got a question for you.
Paul Stanley needs to know. He needs to know. He's dying to know.
Well, these are some of his heroes. So.
That's true. We'll Bring the House Down is a rock and roll boner classic, as voted by the 3 rock and roll boners in this room.
And this is the Hotter Than Hell tour where this is from.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm thinking Winterland. You know, when I hear this,
Winterland.
There's actually a black and white recorded Slade show from the same era from Winterland. That's
really?
on YouTube. Yeah.
How's that?
It's good. It's the Kiss show one of those absolute classics.
Yeah.
The Slade one's good. They do some pretty cool songs on it that I didn't expect to hear, but
Like deep cuts or like cover songs?
I don't know how deep they were. No, but just like stuff where I hadn't heard a live version of it until that point when I found the video. But still, it's cool to see. Like any of the Winterland shows are cool to see. I don't know how many of them are even.
I was going to say, was that a thing?
They would record them there.
That venue just did that.
Yeah, they recorded. I think I don't know about everything, but yeah, there are a few shows, and they looks the same as the Kiss show, the black and white, same kind of camera angles.
That's cool. I need to watch that again.
Yeah, it's one of the best rock performances ever.
Which one was that?
The Winterland. The Kiss Winterland.
Absolutely. What you were comparing it to what?
Oh, no, I was just saying there's a Slade from the same era. There's a Slade Winterland performance.
I think I vague recollections of seeing bits of that.
Yeah, it's cool to see.
Well, my vote's in.
Okay. Nick?
Yes.
All right. And Andy?
You can just start with me. No bone. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't ready for that, but anyway. All right. Soft Boner. Not a classic.
Yeah, I mean, I might... Would you say their earlier material, early 70s, is production-wise a little higher quality than this?
It's hard to... Well, I think... Of the albums I have, the best one is I think from '76 as far as production.
Okay.
The stuff before that has kind of like the super echoey, very like a lot of that kind of effect going on. Uh-huh. So I don't know how pleasing it would be to everybody, listening to those. I'd say probably around there's Nobody's Fools is the album from '76. I'd say that one, the ones that I have and have heard, that one sounds the best.
Okay.
So kind of right in the middle there.
Good to know. Well, there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you disagree, you shouldn't. But just in case you do, we're sorry.
That's just the fucking way it is.
Deal with it. Man, I sure could go for another commercial. I like those commercials. It's the best part of the show.
You and those commercials all the time.
I can't get enough. Maybe 2.
Oh boy, Ernie Banks over here.
I'm the Ernie Banks of podcasting.
Of advertising interruptions.
Let's hear 2. Okay, we're back, and guess what time it is, guys?
Sing away.
Yes, Chief.
Oh, yes, welcome. It is time for the Pot of Thunder Yardo questions. Brought to you by, what was that thing called that you made, Nick?
I gotta look it up now. I don't know. Vandicamp.
Nick's Vandicamp layered pretzel loaf.
Laugenecken.
Ah, Uncle Nick's Laugenecken. Can't go wrong.
Frauer Nick's Laugenecken.
Okay. So, this week's Yardo question comes to us from
Laugenecken, baby.
Well, yeah, that's your commercial.
That's gonna happen, yeah.
Yeah. That'll be here next week. No, doesn't have to be. No pressure. So, this week's Yardo questions comes to us from Kyle Van Rock.
Good name.
He has a good name. He says, fellas, I've heard several of my questions from previous submissions asked by others. So I wanted to submit a fresh batch in hopes of making the cut.
Well, there you go.
It's happened.
Go buy yourself a lottery ticket while you're at it, while you're on a roll with this sort of thing.
Go buy an Illinois lottery ticket where they're not even going to pay you if you win.
Yeah.
Is that still happening?
I don't know, but that's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
Yeah, we'll pay you later. Idiotic.
All that money has been stolen.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
What did that sign in the yard say, Nick?
This was a sign that I saw. Not saying whether I agree or disagree with it, but it said, J.B. Pritzker sucks.
Oh, man.
How dare him? How dare him?
Okay, so
Disaster up there.
Yeah. Question 1. Are you familiar with a tongue-in-cheek sleaze rock band from the mid-2000s called Big Cock? It was started by the former guitarist of King Cobra, and I think had the lead singer from Warrant who took over for Janie Lane. Overall goofy, fun stuff, but sometimes that's right up your alley.
Well, it depends.
The question is, had we heard of them?
Yeah.
The answer is no, and I probably wouldn't be inclined to listen to it for what I said earlier in the show. It's like, I just don't, I don't want the overt comedy clown show in my rock and roll music. It's one of the reasons why I can't warm up to Steel Panther.
Yeah.
For one thing, I just don't think the material is that funny. And I like lowbrow humor as much as the next guy. I just don't think it's that good. I mean, when I saw him open up for Judas Priest, I thought their in-between song shtick was way more entertaining than the actual music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was mildly funny. But in general, if your focus is the comedy and clown aspect of your act, I'm not. That's not what I listen to rock music for. So I will not be interested in it.
Never heard of them. I too right away was drawing the Steel Panther comparison, and I am not much of. I mean, I get it that they're accomplished musicians, but I don't care.
Yeah, and
they don't do anything for me.
The audacity of calling your band Big Cock is obviously appealing and funny, but that's where it ends. I mean, I give him props for that, but after that, it's just like, it's impossible to take any aspect of it seriously. Like with Steel Panther, obviously the Satchel guy, he was in, one of Rob Halford's bands. I mean, these guys can obviously play, but it's just like they're just up there goofing the entire time, and it's like a Slade production. It's like it gets tiring after 30 seconds of it. It's like, not interested, man.
All right.
I thought you were looking up some song titles by them. Did you do a web search for the name of the band?
I didn't find any songs.
Did it autofill?
Yeah, that's going to
after the letter B, it autofill then.
Yeah, and plus it's going to return some other search results that aren't necessarily going to be what you want to see or hear.
Yeah.
Question 2. I know you love it when a singer announces a guitar solo in some way, but where do you stand on talk in-song banter between band members? An example of this is the Vince Neil Tommy Lee exchange in Girls, Girls,
Right.
Girls. I think Poison was guilty of this in a few songs as well.
I don't know that anybody ever talked back to Brett in Poison.
If they did, they were dealt with severely.
I just mean he would CC pick up that guitar, but I don't think
whistle at him, and that was about it.
I don't think we got to hear CC's gravelly tones.
CC had so much coke packed in his face he could not talk. I played with a drummer like that who, when he did too many lines of cocaine, which in his case was 1 or 2, he could not speak. He could not get sound to emanate from his mouth, which in most cases was a positive thing.
Yeah.
It numbed his whole face.
Wow.
He could not do anything. Yet he continued to consume
Yet he
cocaine.
loved it, huh?
This is the kind of jackass he was. But well, I'll just say it's fine if it's done well, and I'll point to one of the greatest examples of this in the middle of the song Unchained by Van Halen, where David Lee Roth is going back and forth with Ted Templeman, the producer. where he goes on all, you'll get some leg tonight for sure. And then Ted Templeman, like in the talkback mic, says, "Come on, Dave, give me a break."
Yeah.
And he goes, "One break coming up," and they kick back into it. I mean, that's one of the greatest examples of it of all time. Trying to think of some others, but they're not coming to me. But if it's done, like anything else, if it's done well, I got no problem with it.
Yeah, I actually, when you were reading the question, I thought it was going to be something along the lines of talking in a live setting, like doing a breakdown, kind of like the infamous Buck Cherry sort of a thing.
Yeah,
that could be great, but most of the time I think it's boring.
Yeah,
but that's not the question, I guess. No, I like the Motley Crue one. I always thought that the What Vince Where, like that's one of my favorites. That's one. What Vince Where? That's like one of my favorite parts of any of their songs, actually.
And that's another song where one band member is whistling at another to get their attention. You couldn't imagine that song without that going on in that particular section.
Yeah. So it's all good.
Yeah. I wish I did. I know there are more examples out there, and so hopefully listeners will chime in with that in the Facebook comments. But if it's done well, why not?
Question 3. I recently watched a documentary on Bob Probert entitled Tough Guy. Growing up in southeast Michigan during this time, I remember that he was considered the NHL heavyweight champ during his years on the ice. Do you think Bob Probert is the best hockey fighter of all time? Or is there someone else deserving of that title? Keep up the great work.
The only other guy I can think of that during that same era was talked about as much as being a tough guy was Ty Domi.
And I knew you were going to say that.
That's the
look
only
up
obvious one.
on YouTube. There's a compilation of all their fights. Probert was on another level. The sheer violence and like the robotic, otherworldly, just tunnel vision of that guy. Just his desire to kick the shit out of whoever he was fighting, unmatched.
That was the
hockey.
whole purpose of him being in the NHL, right? He was just an enforcer.
You know
or
what?
Did he have some hands?
He had some. I was just about to say the guy had skills. He had hands, but his primary purpose was to be an enforcer. Yeah. I would say the only guy I've ever seen that was on that level of savagery, violence, was when I first started watching hockey, because it was the first year it was on NBC. I remember it was a big deal that hockey was finally on American network television. This was when the Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies were, winning cups. Dave Schultz,
I was gonna say,
an animal. I mean, and these were the days where these guys didn't wear helmets, so he would pull the hair, he would slam heads on the ice. He was a criminal, a psychopath. But just the robotic violence of Bob Probert to me was on another level.
But
those would be the top two, hands down. I can't. I mean, obviously there were potent fighters out there, but those two guys were the ones who were known for that and that alone.
Yeah,
and just next level psychotic approach to that part of the game.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't think he's as celebrated, but do you remember Stu Grimson?
No, yeah, it's the Grim Reaper.
The Grim Reaper. Sure. He was the Chicago guy who would fight with Bob Probert for a couple of years, so that's why he was more known here.
Yeah.
I don't know how well known his legacy is versus Bob Probert.
He was game. You got to give that guy credit. And when he was tuning up with some of the other enforcers of the league, he was usually got the best of them.
Yeah.
Probert was the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And these fucking Blackhawk fans around here who claim Bob Probert as their own. Fuck you. He was, is, and always will be a Red Wing. to see him in the Chicago uniform was a disgrace, in my opinion.
No, I know he played in
It's
Chicago,
hard to stomach.
That's probably what the Chicago fans felt when they saw
With Chelios, yes.
and he moved
Agree.
his chili establishment to Detroit.
Agree. I can relate to that, and I would understand it.
Have you ever actually heard of someone trying to claim Bob Probert as a Blackhawk?
Of course,
That seems
you see-
sacrilegious.
You see it all the time.
He was beloved when he was out here.
I know, but like it's like, you know, if you picture an athlete, it's like Joe Montana as a chief or whatever. It's like, yeah, he was there, and you were happy he was there or whatever.
Plus,
but
he was
not,
on an arch rival.
Yeah.
Of course, he was
Yeah.
hated when he was on the Red Wings. Then he comes over and
Yeah.
people celebrate him. That'd be the equivalent of Isaiah Thomas becoming a Bull,
right.
in
Yeah,
the past few years of his career, and then people still talking about him around here as a Bull. It's
Yeah.
just it shouldn't compute in your brain.
Okay, well, I've got one for you for both of you guys. What team do you default to for Dennis Rodman?
Oh, he's a Piston. Come
Andy?
on, that's another one.
so that's before my time.
That's another
Piston.
one. He's a Piston.
I first heard of Dennis Rodman as a Spur for the 2 or 3 years he was there, and then Bulls. So I don't know. I would say
Yeah.
Bulls, but it was 3 years.
yeah.
And
3
it was a
championships.
legendary time in both franchises. So.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I'm biased because I'm a Detroit sports fan, and
Yeah.
that's when he came into the league, won
Yeah.
2 titles with the Pistons.
Yeah. How long was he there? Like 5 years or something?
5 or 6,
Yeah. So that's the most
But
time.
yeah, and when that this what was this special that was on about the Bulls championship run recently?
that everybody was
I
talking
can't think of
about,
the name of it off.
The last
Let's
dance.
go. Let's
Yeah.
go flip a car.
And right, and he,
That's the Pistons one.
That's
just
the Bulls one.
just
too.
to
Right,
annoy
right.
Bulls
That's Berta train
fans.
station.
Just to annoy Bulls fans on Facebook, whenever they would talk up Rodman, I just go in and say Rodman was a Piston. That's it. It's true. That's where he got his start. You know, he became this eccentric weirdo who could still play at an extremely high level with the Bulls. But
Yeah.
the shit he did on the Pistons, it was just incredible. And he was still on that level with the Bulls. His personality kind of took over. But he's a Piston to me. But I'm biased.
Not to talk about Dennis Rodman too long, but it's interesting how he won those 3 titles with the Bulls in 3 years. And then was he on the Lakers the next year or the Mavericks? I think it was Lakers first. Like, he basically never had any career again. He had, a few games here and there, but he seemed like he was in his prime athletically, and then he's just done the next year.
Yeah, but by then he'd been in the league 10, 11 years.
Yeah, but if you watched him at the end of the season when they won that championship, he seemed like an elite player. Then the next year, it's like there's something off, and he never came back.
Well, there's a
that
lot to be
happens.
said about the chemistry of both of those teams
Yeah.
that brought out the best in him and vice versa. And,
Yeah.
you can't, lightning struck twice. Can you get it to strike a third and fourth time? Probably not.
There's too much ass in Los Angeles.
Exactly. Eventually the shtick catches up
was-
with you. And
Yeah,
There was so much he couldn't speak.
that was probably a thing too. I've told this story before, but the one time I saw him in person, he let it be known to everyone around. Look at that ass! I love ass.
That's
So,
embarrassing.
There you go. Yeah.
It's a funny story, but how embarrassing.
Well, that's probably every minute of his life since 1990.
But it was almost like you could equate it to Mike Tyson. This Chuck Daly, the coach of the Pistons, who discovered him basically and pulled him out of obscurity,
Yeah.
turned him into a world-class athlete. He was the calming force in that guy's life. And then when he stopped being his coach, that's when he got all eccentric and weird, and the whole, it didn't affect his play with the Bulls, but by the same token, it was coming apart because he left the team for a week to party in Vegas, and for that version of him Phil Jackson was the perfect coach because he somehow was able to work with that. But
Yeah.
Phil Jackson always seemed like he was asleep. He had the strangest manner about him whenever they'd show him.
the Zen master.
Well, but his head was always like to the side, kind of like he was dozing.
Mouth
off.
hanging open. Yeah. But boy, that guy could. He won 9 titles between the Bulls and the Lakers. I think that's true.
It was maybe more.
Yeah,
6.
And then
Bulls.
he coached the Shaq and Kobe. He presided over that. I mean, this guy, the way he managed egos and personalities will never be matched again.
Yeah. Yep. So, Bob Probert, Dave Schultz, Nick mentioned Ty Domi as an honorable mention. Even though nobody asked me, not on the level, but just a guy whose highlights are entertaining to watch. Ron Hextall. Just
Goalie fights are fun.
He was another psycho.
The guy with
talk
hair
about
trigger temper.
talk about Chelios, the way he attacked him at the end of that Canadians Flyers series.
It's hilarious
I mean,
stuff.
you do that on the street, you're going to be in prison
Yeah.
for 3 or 4 years. I mean, that was just a.
That's organized sports for you. It's legal assault.
Well, right, but again, Hextall, legitimate psycho.
Yeah. It's just, if you type in, Ron Hextall fights or highlights or whatever, it's hilarious to watch. Because, you watch hockey, usually the other players are so protective of the goalie, which is fine. But it's like he wouldn't allow people to protect him. He was just a maniac. If you ran into him at all, clipped him, iced him, he'll swing his stick at your head, chasing you. It's
If
like
someone was screening in
criminal.
front of him, would he attack them?
Oh my god! Just anything, just the most maniacal. He had to be the craziest goalie ever.
Him and probably Billy Smith of the Islanders.
Okay,
he had a nasty psycho streak to him too. He had the butt end of his stick like 3 inches down, the tape roll.
Yeah.
So the bare end of the stick. There's another video on YouTube. Who was the guy? The fucking guy who he ended up coaching the Sabres for a long time. What is his name? Damn it, I can't think of it. Anyway, there's a YouTube clip of a playoff game in the early '80s where he was playing for the Sabres at the time. He's coming around the back of the Islanders' net, and Billy Smith just flicks the stick right in his eye, and he just hit the ice and then got up and just went straight at him, and there was a huge brawl. Fuck, I can't think of that guy's name. He coached the Sabres for years, fairly recently. But I remember watching that live, and just that flick of the bare wood right in his eyeball. Classic.
busted
move.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nasty, but he jumped right up and went right at him and just started pummeling him, and then the bench is cleared. Great stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Kyle, for your Yardo questions. It sparked a pretty fun conversation. Didn't see that coming today. Have you guys watched any playoff hockey? Or are you not?
I watched No Nothing.
No, nothing.
I can't get into it.
No, I'm
It's
trying.
too weird.
It's kind of the times are strange. It's like 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. I know the arrangement. Maybe that's over now, but like the first round, it was like multiple games every day. Just the way the arrangements were, but
It's like the Olympics.
it kind of a little bit, yeah.
That's it. Lindy Ruff. I just had to
Ruff.
look it up.
Okay, Lindy
Look
Ruff.
up Lindy Ruff, Billy Smith on YouTube. You'll see it. I've watched it fairly recently. It's hilarious.
All right.
So, real quick, what month was it?
Oh, I
again?
don't know.
It's the last day, right?
It
It's
is
the 31st of August,
August
the
already.
5th Monday to celebrate. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this. We are 8 likes away from having 1,500 likes on Facebook. I say we do a marathon, a sort of a telethon, if you will,
To get 8 more likes.
to get by the end of business day.
Oh, okay.
August 31st.
That's what we're going for. Huh?
Let's get to 1,500.
We need
Come on,
1,500.
people.
It would be nice to get over that hump. I mean,
Come on, people.
we've kind of hit a wall on social media across the board in terms of like expanding our likes, which, whatever. The listenership seems to be on the rise continuously. So
Maybe
I'm not really concerned about that, but
maybe people could tell their friends or have their moms like it or
moms
something.
are loyal. Get them involved.
Get some
involved.
moms.
tell them to like it and immediately unfollow it.
That's fine.
Just say they're nice boys.
Exactly. Do us a solid.
Yeah.
They're good people to do business with. Right?
Yes, exactly. Bringing you free joy every week, as we're frequently told.
Yep. That's what we do, and that's what we will do again next month. Oh, it's September already. Holy cow. Crazy. This year's been bizarre. Woo. All right, guys, you ready? Get in the car. Yeah. Go start some shit somewhere. Let's do it.